Demarcus Cousins and John Wall were on a podcast. I don't know if you saw the clip, and they were remembering the Elite Eight game that you played against them. And Demarcus Cousins said he should have had 45 that day because you were guarding him on the back line of the 1-3-1. Why didn't he have 45 that day?
I don't know. I mean, I thought we did a good job taking away the threes from them. It's a complex defense that's kind of difficult to figure out. We got lucky. I don't think we hit any two-pointers in that game. We hit 8 threes in the first half, which allowed us to get out to a significant, I forget what the lead was, but it was like one of those games where like they couldn't hit much from the outside, but we did, and got lucky.
What do you remember about that challenge against Cousins when you were matched up against him down low?
I mean, they were a dominant team, dominant player. It just more came down to execution and shot making. Like I said, we got lucky in that first half. Second half, they were obviously way more talented, but I thought we executed the game plan pretty well. I thought we executed that 1-3-1 defense pretty well.
If I remember right, I think you.
We're not going to do this. We're not going to get into multiple questions about that. So let's play the Mavericks tonight.
All right, I'll give you a Mavericks one.
Thank you.
Their three-point rate, obviously, right up with you guys at the top of the league. We talked after the Philly game, kind of not necessarily needing a certain amount of threes. That's, sort of a matchup thing, I'd imagine. In a game like this, do you need, to kind of keep up with their three-point attempt rate?
I think this is a team that we can, depending upon how the game goes, defend some of those. A lot of those come in transition, so that starts with our offensive execution and our transition spacing defensively comes from, obviously Doncic in isolation, but also his ability to, make plays for his teammates. And, they run a lot of single-side tags with lobs and kickouts in there too. So we have a better understanding that they come a little bit more structured than most teams. And so it's knowing which ones we can take away and which ones we have to live with, so to speak. So it's just a different dynamic for the way they get theirs.
Is that sort of a kind of evolution for you, I guess, for lack of a better term? Like you had said in the past, kind of the three-point attempt rate's the most important number, but last game said, it's not necessarily about the amount of threes, it's the best shots. Like, did that kind of change over the last?
Well, that three-point rate is important depending upon your offense and defense and how you can control that. And there's a few teams in the league that they're difficult to control because of the speed and the rate at which they play with. And I think the league is changing a little bit to where there's a few teams that are just going to volume and variance instead of the right people shooting them at the right times. And so you have to be able to combat those. And so that's the biggest thing I've learned, playing against 5 or 6 different teams is it's very difficult to control the volume and the variance. And so you have to find small ways to do that. And so the last game, the free throw line was the way for us to do that. It was also to kind of make sure the ball got to certain guys to have them shoot it. But if they made it, it wouldn't have worked, So there's definitely some teams that have helped us learn how we can fluctuate that number and combat that.
You kind of learned that over the course of this season. So.
Yeah, I would say, playing the Indianas, Philly without Embiid, a couple of teams were like speed, and they have multiple guys that shoot the ball at a relatively good rate, and no one's, so you have to find ways to be able to combat that. Thanks.